Hey guys, so today I'm filming a video on my must-have makeup brushes. I filmed this like a year and a half ago, so I thought it was time to film an updated version for you guys. And before I get into the actual brushes, I want to share with you how I store my brushes and what products I use to clean them. So to store my brushes, I have this office organizer from Walmart. It was about $12. I'll make sure I have it linked down below. We have 4 compartments on the side. We have a little pull-out section and room for some things to sit on top and a couple of different sections up there. So I really love that. I have mine organized by face, base, cheeks, eyes, and then extra brushes. I have my sponge up top, and I have my Kabuki brushes and whatnot in the bottom. And in the very back, I also have some pencil sharpeners. So this is not the cutest storage, but it is super effective and convenient and just keeps everything organized the way that I like it. If I do get any more brushes, I will have to purchase another one of those or something else because I will have outgrown my storage. But for the amount of brushes I have right now, this works perfectly for me. So to wash my brushes, I just use classic old Johnson's baby shampoo. I find it to be really gentle and remove all the product from my brushes while still keeping the bristles soft. And the tool that I use with it would be the Sigma Spa Glove. This is a sample spa glove and it has all these different ridges to run your brushes over. I will usually focus my face brushes here and my eye brushes here, but I really enjoy this. I just put shampoo right on there, run the bristles over it, and then rinse it out, and it works really, really well to get really deep into the bristles of the brushes, especially the ones that are really compact. And when it comes to my Real Techniques complexion sponge, I use the Dr. Bronner's Lavender Soap. You can buy this at Target, and I just put it in a little Target soap dish. I think it works really, really well. You just need to make sure that you get out all of the soap from the sponge, but it does a great job at thoroughly removing all of the product, so definitely recommend you guys check out this Dr. Bronner soap. So my favorite brands would have to be e.l.f., Real Techniques, and Sigma. The e.l.f. Studio brushes are only $3 and they work incredibly. I love the face brushes from the Studio line. I also love Real Techniques. They have great individual brushes and brush sets. Because the bristles are synthetic, they can be used with liquid cream and powder products, so it makes those brushes so much more versatile and able to perform a lot of different purposes, which is why I really love them. And the brushes I have from Sigma are more unique in shape, and I really enjoy them all and wanted to share them with you. So just getting into the individual brushes, starting with foundation. So I have 2 different foundation brushes. The first is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. This has been a favorite of mine for a long time because this is super dense, and because the size is smaller, it is able to get in all the nooks and crannies, like around the nose, between the brows, and on the temples and around the brows. So I really, really love that. It gives some really nice coverage as well because it is so dense. My newest foundation brush love is from RC Cosmetics. This is from their Highlight and Contour Kit, which comes with 5 brushes that mimic the Sigma Sigmax brushes. So RC Cosmetics actually has the Sigma dupes within different sets. They have a matte black, silver, and a gold set, and for some reason I like the bristles the most from the matte black set, so I think I'm going to buy these online because they're a great price and the bristles are so incredible. So this is the angled flat top Kabuki brush that I've been using for foundation, and compared to the Real Techniques, you can see that this one is a lot bigger, which I actually like. Even though this one is not the best at getting in all those nooks and crannies, it covers a larger surface area, and I find that it is a lot easier to make sure I have blended in 100% of my foundation. There have definitely been times where I have missed a spot when using a smaller brush, so I really, really love this one. It is nice and dense as well, but it has a little bit of give to it. It's really, really great for blending, so these are my 2 favorite foundation brushes. Moving on to concealer, I have 2 different products. The first is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. This is also great for foundation. I love using the flat side for that, but I use this most for concealer, and I use the pointed side, which is really great for getting around the eye and into the inner corner, so I love this. I think that this sponge performs really, really well, and that will give you a nice airbrush look. If you are looking for more full coverage under the eye, I like to use my Real Techniques Contour Brush. This comes in the Core Collection set, so this is not sold individually, unfortunately. This is great for contour, but I have been really loving it for concealer under my eyes. As you can see, it has a nice point to it, so it also gets right around the creases of the eye and blends out product really, really well. Next, I have two different brushes for powder. I have one to set the under eyes and one to set my face. They are both from the e.l.f. Studio line. The brush I use for my under eyes is the e.l.f. Small Tapered brush. Again, the tapered point is perfect for really getting around the crease of the eye and in the inner corner. For me, I have very oily skin all over, even under my eyes, so I need to make sure that my concealer is totally set. So the shape of this works really, really well to get all up in there. And then my favorite brush to set my face is the e.l.f. powder brush, which is a flat top brush. This is pretty large, so it does cover a nice area and helps me set my face quicker. I really like the flat shape compared to some of the more fluffy brushes, because for me, I need to make sure that every bit of my makeup is set properly and completely so that it will help keep me matte throughout the day, and my other powder products like blush, bronzer, and highlight will go on evenly and not patchy. Next, for bronzer, my favorite brush is the e.l.f. stippling brush. So for me, with very fair skin, it is hard to wear bronzer and have it not look crazy. So for me, when I use a stippling brush, it applies the perfect amount of product to give me that airbrushed look. It gives a nice bronze look to my skin without being too intense. I always go back and blend it out, but I don't have to blend as much when I use this stippling brush. My favorite brush for contouring is from Sigma. This is the Sigma F05 Small Contour Brush, and this fits perfectly into the hollows of the cheek, but it isn't too small, which I love because this can apply product and blend it out. Now moving on to blush, I have three different brushes and they all serve a different purpose. The first one I have is the Real Techniques buffing brush, which comes in the Core collection. A lot of people like to use this for foundation, but I use this for cream blush. I used it today for a ColourPop blush. If you guys have ColourPop blushes and you're having a hard time applying them, this is my all-time favorite brush. I've tried a bunch and this is the one that works the best for me. Gives me the most even full coverage on the cheek. My next favorite blush brush is from Walmart's 8D blush range, and this is an angled blush brush, which I love because I'm someone that applies blush on the backs of my cheeks, not the apples, because I have a more round face, and the angle to this really helps to perfectly apply this to the backs of my cheeks. And this is a brush that I like to use with blushes that aren't super pigmented, like my Clinique Cheek Pops and my MAC Mineralized blushes. My last blush brush is from Sigma. This is the Sigma F15 Duo Fiber Blush Brush, and this is the brush that I like to use with my blushes that are really, really pigmented, like my MAC powder blushes and my blushes from the Balm, which have crazy pigmentation. This brush applies the perfect amount. It really helps you wear a vivid blush or a really pigmented blush, but not look like a clown. It just picks up the perfect amount of product and makes it look really nice and airbrushed on the cheeks. Again, stippling brushes are really great to give a light wash of color. My next brush is for highlighting. This is the Real Techniques setting brush, which can be used to set the under eyes, but I love it for highlighting just on the very top of my cheekbones to make sure that I don't get too much product onto my blush or under my eye. This is just the perfect size for a precise highlight, which I really love. And again, because it is a synthetic brush, this works well with powder highlights and also with the ColourPop highlighters. My very last face brush is what I use to blend out all of my cheek products, and this is again from Real Techniques. This is their blush brush. It does have this nice tapered point to it. This is much too large for me to use for blush. It also works great for bronzer, but my favorite way to use this is to blend out all of my cheek products because I can definitely tend to get a little bit heavy-handed. So now moving on to my eye brush favorites, starting with the brow brushes. Now for a spoolie, my favorite is from Sonia Kashuk. This costs about $2. You can find it at Target, and I really love this for its really long handle. It is a pretty standard spoolie, but very inexpensive, and it definitely does the job. I like to use this to help comb out my brows before I apply any product. My next favorite is this brow and lash comb from Flirt Cosmetics. This came in a set, but Real Techniques also sells a brow and lash comb, and I like to use this after I apply wax to my brows to make sure that it is combed out really nicely. This is something that would also be great to use after you apply any brow gel to make sure that it is all combed out. Then to apply product to my brows, I have three different brushes that can be used mostly interchangeably. perfectly. And the first one is from Sigma. This is the E75 angled brow brush. This brush works really well to apply powder to my brows. That is the way that I use it. It has a really nice angle. It is nice and thin and small, so this will give you nice precision if you have smaller brows or you want to have more detail when filling them in. My next brush is from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the number 7 dual-ended brush. We have an angled brush on one side and we have a spoolie on the other. This came in a set. I think having a double-ended brow brush is really handy, so I don't think that you need this and the Sigma and Sonia Kashuk. It's definitely either or. My last brow brush is the NYX B22 angled eyeliner brush, and because it has synthetic bristles, this works perfectly with any cream product, so I always use this with my Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade and my NYX eyebrow gel. Also be great with the Makeup Forever Aqua Brow. Any type of brow gel or pomade product this brush works perfectly with. You do need to wash it every time after you use it, but I would not want to use my Sigma brush to apply those cream and gel products. I would definitely go with my NYX. So now moving on to eye brushes, I have two that I use for cream bases. The first one is the Mary Kay Cream Eye Color Brush, and I like to use this to pack cream shadow onto my lid. The synthetic bristles pick up the product perfectly, and because it is nice and flat, it is really easy to get on the lid and even to help carve out the crease. My other favorite is the Sigma P82 Precision Round Brush, and I use this to apply cream bases into my crease. Depending on the size of your crease, this brush might be a little big for you and you'll have to be a little bit more precise when using it, but I think that this is really awesome at fitting right into the crease of my eye and applying cream base there. Because my nails are really long, I can't apply cream bases with my fingers without jacking up the product and making a mess, so I always love to use those brushes. My next brush favorite is another from RC Cosmetics. This is from their mini highlight and contour brush set, which again is a dupe for the Sigma Sigmax Precision brushes. So this is RC Cosmetics Round Precision Brush. In comparison to the Sigma, you can see that it is a bit taller and it's not as stiff, which I actually really like. This is my favorite brush to use for ColourPop shadows in the crease. What I use to apply ColourPop shadows on my lid would be the sponge tip applicators that come in palettes. I actually bought a ton of them from the Ulta brand, so if you want to use ColourPop eyeshadows on your lid, I recommend using a sponge tip applicator, but if you want to apply them in the crease, I recommend this RC Cosmetics Precision Round Brush. I will link it down below. I will link all of these brushes down below and list them for you guys, and this one is so perfect. I have been having the hardest time trying to find brushes that will apply the ColourPop shadows in my crease evenly, and this brush does it. So I'm really impressed and happy that I was able to discover this for my ColourPop shadow. My next favorite brush is what I use to pack shadows on my lid. This is the MAC 239 Flat Shader Brush. This is a very expensive eye brush. It is like 20 bucks or so, and I would spend the money over again. I love this so much. This doesn't look very special, but it is the perfect size and has the perfect amount of density to really pack shadows onto the lid. I use this every single day. So my favorite brush for the crease is the Sigma E25 Blending Brush, and this is not what I use to blend. Like I said, it is what I use in the crease, but it does help apply the product and blend it out so it isn't too harsh, and the size of this fits perfectly into my crease. My favorite brush for blending and applying my transition shade is the Sigma E40 Tapered Blending Brush. And this one is really nice and fluffy, but I use this today. I think that this does a really great job of just laying down that transition shade and blending out your eye look. My last brush is my favorite for highlighting under my brow. This is the Sigma E45 Small Taper Blending. I used to love this to help blend out my crease, but I found that the E40 worked a lot better for that. But this does have a nice tapered point to it, which works really well at getting right under the brow. So guys, that is it for my Holy Grail must-have makeup brushes. Please leave a comment down below with your favorites so I can go check them out. And I want to apologize for the birds. There is a baby bird nest like right above me, and they will not shut up. So I hope it wasn't too much of a bother for you guys. I'm really sorry about that. It was driving me insane. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye guys.